Alright, testing 1, 2, 3, 4 is what we're doing here. I'm going to walk over to here. I'm going to have this thing here. I might walk around it back here. Walk around this here. Get back over to here, and this is what we're talking about. Okay, it's coming. It's coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. Get out of here. It's another product. I don't take advantage of all these offers. Matter of fact, before we even get into this, I have to say, there's one company in particular that just keeps sending me emails. They want me to review this product, and it's an electric bike. And you would think, take advantage of the electric bike. I would. If it was a two-wheel bike, this is a trike. It's got 3 wheels. This is I don't have a place to put that. If I was living in a house in Arizona right now, I would take advantage of that, and I would do a great review, and I'd pass it off to my nephew, who's 27. He doesn't have a car. He'd be able to get around with it. This will probably end up in that house. So this company reached out to me. The company's called NEEDONE. It's a Chinese company, and they make cigar humidors. I looked at their link on Amazon, and I read their reviews there. Everybody's happy with it. They come in many different sizes. The original one they were going to send me is a smaller unit, which would have been great for me, for the apartment, all that. But by the time our communication got to the point where, yes, because the thing was I didn't want to just take this thing. I wrote them a note saying, listen, I enjoy a good cigar from time to time, but I don't have a bunch of cigars to put in this thing. So I didn't understand what I could really do for them other than an unboxing and first impressions of the unit and describe what it is, what it does, that sort of thing. I'm pretty good at that sort of thing. So they got back to me and said, oh, that's fine. We would be very happy with just that. Great. I went out of town. I came back. We communicated a little bit more. And then they told me that once I said, yeah, I'll take it, we'll work this out. Then I got a note from them saying, listen, the one we were going to send you is not around anymore. I don't think either it's not in stock or they changed the model, something. And so they asked me if I take the larger one to do this unboxing. And I looked it up and I was apprehensive because look at this thing. It's a big box, man. I have to lock the wheels on this table here. It's a big box. And I looked it up. It's a pretty big unit, but I figured, let me see. So I sent an email to my 2 guys right now that I know that are cigar people. One is Matt at the Low Side Cigar Lounge in Pahrump, Nevada. You guys should check that out. If you're ever in the Pahrump area, go in and see Matt and the fellas. All nice people. They hang out. It's a pretty cool set. A lot of veterans, too. Cool dudes. And then my buddy Scott De La Pena, he owns his own cigar company called Hermosa Cigars. They both said this would be a cool thing to have. And I think Scott might hook me up with a bundle of cigars to give a shot, which is, this thing I think holds over 300 cigars. Again, we're going to get into this. How about we just get into it now? Let's just unbox this and I'll just keep blathering as per usual while I'm doing this. So this is a Kershaw knife. This is called the Surefire. It's got a bunch of tools in it. People keep asking me about it. Oh, and a quick wrist check. This is my Seiko. This is an SKX, but it's the Singapore. So it's a very rare version of the watch. And it was upside down, by the way. And I just got this back from Mike at Majestic Watch and Jewelry. I was over there yesterday. Somebody is sending them a Rolex. Another guy called me up. He has a Zodiac Seawolf that he's going to send in and have worked on there. So thank you for doing that, because I love these guys. I hang out at the watch shop, and Mike will not take money from me. So if you guys want to help the channel out and help me out, and you're curious or you're interested in watches, maybe you have an old watch in a drawer. It would only be worth it if it's a watch that's a good quality watch. And if you have the means to do so, you might want to send your watch someplace to have it serviced or repaired. The guy with the Rolex is going to have a new crystal put on his watch. So they get packages from all over the world to work on the watches. And it's Majestic WJ on Larchmont Boulevard in Los Angeles. You guys can look them up and find that. Because if you're doing that, then I can get some of my watches back. He had 4 of my watches, you know. Now he has 3 of my watches. Because yesterday he took this one apart and he did a balance spring service. And I watched him do it. It was super cool. And this thing is dialed. Very, very, very happy with that. So, and I have to say too, this is going to be a funny thing for you guys to watch this channel evolve. Especially once I'm living in a house instead of an apartment. Whenever you open a package with a knife, just my tip is to pinch up on the blade so just the tip is sticking out. So you don't, I see people doing this all the time or this, man, you can poke that too deep and damage whatever's in the box. So just pinch it on the spine, get the point sticking out, and just get it into the tape. That'd be the smart way to do that. All right. Oh boy, there's a lot of packaging. Maybe, oh, you know what? Let's do a quick test here. I'm going to walk off screen for a moment. I might be able to use this box and this packaging. Who's been following the build with the box that I'm doing for Phil? I might be able to use this box, redo it a little bit to create a box for the kitchen box for the van that I'm sending to Phil. Okay, this is if this is your first time here, this is apropos for my style with videos. I'm all over the place, but I'm getting to it. Patience, man. Calm your jets. I'm going to have to tip this to get the stuff out. All right. I will say the box has a little damage right here. Right here. Ooh, that's not good. I just poked my finger in and I'm touching the unit. So they came to me with this hole in it. So I just wanted to point out with the packaging, because the people from the company, the NEEDONE people, thank you. I think the name of the person was Cherry. I could be incorrect there. And that's funny to me. I think it's cool. This is not the first company from China that's wanted to send me a product to review. And the names are always interesting because they're using like American names. I wonder if that is really their name. I just think it's interesting. I think it's a choice, which makes sense because they know that there's a little animosity by some people. I'm not one of those people. It's a worldwide economy. I'm an American first guy, but not everything. It used to be a lot of stuff from China wasn't good, but that is not the case anymore. China's producing a lot of good stuff, and people around the world are good human beings. What's going on with governments and politics and power, that's a whole separate issue that is important to be aware of. But the human beings are human beings, and we're all just trying to get by in this world, you know? So let's tip this over, because I'm all alone here. I'll be gentle. I love these. This is something I'll hold on to for packaging other things in the future. That might even come in handy for the truck. Possibly loading things up on the roof or something. You guys know me. I hate throwing anything away. Mr. Thrifty. Alright. That was on the top of the unit. And this is the unit. Alright. It is almost the size of the box. Slide a bunch. I'm sorry, you're not seeing this. Pretty well packaged. So all this packaging I can use when I make a box for Phil. I doubt Phil's watching this. Uh-oh, the door is opening. Let's not have the door flop open. You like that? That's a pro. That's a pro at unpacking things. This is the unit. Look at this, man. It is pretty. Black is beautiful. If I'm going to buy something like this, I would prefer it to be black over silver or white. It's easier to fit into anything, even if your whole thing is white and you got built-in cabinets or something. And which I will say, like, why would you want something this large? Where would you put it? That if you're a guy, you got a man cave, perfect. If you've got a enough area in your kitchen, it's perfect. You got an office, it's perfect. This would be very nice built-in to something. Obviously, you would want to have enough airspace around this thing for the fans to work. This unit, and I'm going to open the instructions. I might pause it and peruse them and then give you the knowledge, but from what I read already, it has like a computer chip in it that controls the humidity. The temperature in this thing only goes from around 50 to 70 degrees, give or take. I'll get the exact numbers in a moment. This is not a refrigerator. That's something I was considering. I was like, oh, it'd be interesting if it went down cool enough, because maybe you could put a couple bottles of wine in there and your cigars. For those that don't know, a cigar, all right, it's made of leaf tobacco, and it needs to have moisture when you store it, or it will dry out and fall apart. You don't want too much humidity, because then you can get mold in it, and that's not good either. So these things are designed to provide a perfect temperature and perfect humidity level to keep your cigars alive, which is more important now than ever because cigars are expensive. They are not inexpensive, man. And going back, I know I have one in here. You want to talk about not throwing anything away? There's a cigar that's been bouncing around for like a year, and you could see that the leaf is falling apart on this thing. I don't think this is a great cigar. And I can't read it anyhow. But it's falling apart. This is no good. I don't think I can bring this back to life. But that's just so I can screenshot that and possibly use it for the thumbnail, because I have, like no tech savvy with this job now that this has become. So first impressions, we're gonna keep going along as I notice things. It's nice. It looks good. It's not that heavy. The package said online it was going to be 44 pounds. That didn't really feel like 44 pounds to me. It'll say in the instructions, but this doesn't feel very heavy to me. This is, I don't think this is 20 pounds. It's got a nice rubber seal. I'm sure it's magnetic. These are supposed to be, and should be, Spanish cedar. Got our instructions here. It does smell right. I've been in a lot of humidors, walk-in humidors. Let me tell you a quick story. I'm going to tell you a few stories in this video. I got into cigars pretty heavy back in the 1990s, 30 years ago. Approximately. And there used to be a place right down the road here on Beverly called the Cigar Joint in Los Angeles, and it was on Beverly, a couple blocks west of La Brea. Yeah, that's right. And every Tuesday night I'd go there, and I had a guy living next to me. His name's Fenton Lawless. Fenton is still around. He's an actor. He's been in a bunch of stuff. And at that time, this was maybe later 90s at that time, he had been in 3 movies that were out. I Shot Andy Warhol, Air Force One, and Mississippi Burning. And he was living with his girlfriend. They have a place in New York, and Fenton was the bartender at a place called Primola in New York City for decades. Great stories there, too. So it's fun stuff. I've told some of them before. Fenton was a big-time cigar guy. He always smoked Padrones. You can't go wrong with a Padron. That was something Fenton always said. And so Fenton and I would go to the cigar lounge all the time. I had another friend I was going there before Fenton moved in, so I knew about it already. I might have turned Fenton on to that joint. I don't recall. my buddy AJ, big guy, good looking, handsome guy, goatee, like 6'4", drove a 64 two-door convertible Cadillac and a 1934 Porsche Roadster. I think that was about right that year. And boy, did we have a good time in the 90s cruising around LA. And AJ was a wine aficionado and cigar aficionado. And he kind of took me under his wing and educated me on this stuff. So like I said, every Tuesday you'd smoke 2-3 cigars sometimes in an evening, which is a little much. And we'd go other nights of the week, but every Tuesday that was the thing. And the guy there, like I said, the guy that owned the joint showed me a lot of fun stuff. As a matter of fact, we'll pause this in a moment when I'm looking up the literature, and then I'll grab a couple things I have in my bag to show you. At any rate, back around that time, I also went to New Jersey, and back in the day, all the beach houses there were furnished. And a lot of these houses were built in the late 19th century, and some in the very early 20th century. And so the furniture, revealed that. You go in, you see these old antique pieces of furniture, and one of the things that were in there in this one house was these two kooky, it took me a minute to figure out what they were. They were cabinets, footed, so they were up off the ground a bit. They stood about this high, maybe a little lower, and had a big door on the front. You open it up, and they were copper lined. And there were rails on the side for shelves, but there was just a big empty space. And then soldered into the copper at the top was a hook. That was a cigar humidor. And the way they used to humidify the cigars back in the day was they would just hang an orange in there, like or an apple, which was also flavor it a bit. So that's what they used back in the day, was a piece of fruit to keep enough moisture in there to keep the cigars healthy. A little vintage cigar knowledge for you. So it's something I've been into for over 30 years, and I don't do it a lot now, but I would like to do it some more. As a matter of fact, if you guys want to support the channel, send me an email at mike@mikezdesign.com and send me some cigars. Like, I'll give you my address. Maybe we can fill this thing up. Let's get this thing out of here. Yeah, so the glass, it's double pane, so that's an insulated glass. We've got a handle built into it here. Obviously, this is removable. It's interesting. These are not very large, but you can obviously slide this out. So that might be a better way for you personally to, organize your cigars. I happen to like Churchill's. I like a 50 ring big cigar. That's just I don't mind a shorter than a Churchill, but I do prefer a fatter cigar. And because of my ability, I could make my own trays for this, but it's kind of nice, obviously, that it comes with them. I can see that there's a fan right in here, and oh, look at that. There's a tube right back here, so I guess that's how the moisture comes out. We're going to look at the instructions, obviously, but as a man, let's face it, we're not real big on instructions. Part of the reason I think that men will do this is we want to look at it and figure it out for ourselves in our own minds, how everything works. Then we'll go back and look at the instructions to find out if we were correct. I think that that's what we're doing. It's like a little test for ourselves, you know. This also slides out. Let's just check this out here. So that fits there. This fits here. And this fits here. So that's pretty cool because it'll give you a little personal choice of what you want to do. Oh, good. So this will also fit in all three places. It's interesting that they chose to do it this way. It seems to me, now I guess this is so like if you got a bundle, you could fit a bundle in there maybe. I feel like it should have maybe came with an extra tray. One of these. But that's just me. There might be a reason why they don't do it, and maybe that's in the literature. I guess I'll find out momentarily. So you can see back here, looks like that might even be that computer chip in there. There's another air to blow here. This is all fans, so I see at least 2 fans, and possibly a third here. So it's going to keep the airflow moving in here as well, which is important. You don't want stagnant air. This has a rating on it. I think all electronics have to have this for safety. OC passed. We might have to pause this sooner than I thought too. I think the gardener's here. Every time I want to do something, it's always a Thursday. So back here it says cyclopentane. What the hell? Cyclopentane. Cyclopentane. Electric cigar humidor. Rated voltage is AC 110 or 120. The model number is NO-59-TH3. And insulation blown gas pentane. I don't know what the hell that is. That's got to be the insulation in here. Power is 70 watts. Rated frequency at 60 hertz. You know what? Let's go ahead and plug this in and see how much noise it makes. I just threw this cord up here too, so let's break out the Widowmaker. I'm gonna have to pause this. We just opened the door and there's gonna be leaf blowing and everything else. I will get back to this momentarily. Okay, I may have to pause this again for sound. They just mowed the lawn and did the trimmer. They're gonna come through next and blow this stuff around. So, but I got to get this done so I can also get some work done today. Ooh, pretty blue lights too. I love that. Black and blue, as my childhood. It's a great way to explain my childhood. I was black and blue a lot. With the mom I had. Oh, now you're crying? I'll give you something to cry about. So anyway, while I was sitting here with my hearing on, so my tinnitus doesn't get from all that noise from these guys, I found wrapped up. Oh look, it's got lights. You put water in this thing. And that slides in that little space under there. And that's so cool. Now, this is pretty simple stuff. You're basically just going to put your thumb here on the settings. And now, I believe this is the humidity reader. And so I could put this up or down. Alright. Now we got the temperature. I could put this up or down. And right now it's at 57%, and that's pretty cool. Oh no, I'm wrong. That's the humidity. It's got a little water droplet next to it, and this would be the temperature. So that's interesting. Now, we've got the instructions here. Yes, I looked at the instructions. It's basic stuff. I'll let you guys do a couple screenshots here if you want to look at that. But I just wanted to mention kind of what's important. The important safety instructions, there's 5 of them here, very basic stuff. Don't touch the power supply, like plug it in with wet hands. Number 2, if the is damage to the plug, okay, I think it's supposed to say if there is damage to the plug, power cord product. So this is what happens. So it's interesting, just a quick thing, and I'm not picking on these guys, but the people who own this house, this guy worked for Epson for years. He went to Japan 5 times a year for a very long time. I built all their furniture. It's a very strong Japanese aesthetic. And he wrote manuals for computer products, mainly for Epson. And he had a bunch of people living in this area. Actually, they lived all over the place that spoke different languages. And he can read and write Japanese as well. And they had Chinese and Hindu and a lot of other people around the world. His job was to translate and produce this sort of thing. Every unit, anything you buy has multiple manuals. There's the one that comes with the unit for you. But then there's ones that go to the people who assemble it. There's the ones that go to the people who service it. All of that. And so there's something gets lost in the translation. But basically it's just common sense stuff. Don't pull on the cord. Grab the plug at the end there. For your safety, the cigar cabinet should be properly ground. There's a ground on the plug. Before connecting the power supply, check that the voltage indicated on the appliance corresponds to the local main voltage. So this is set for 110, 120, so we're golden, we're in the United States. That's what that is. It's, yeah, that's kind of silly, but this is important stuff. Recommendations. This is really what I was looking for. So it's recommended that cigar cabinets be placed away from a heat source. You got a wood burning stove or something, don't put this next to it. You want to put it in the kitchen, don't put it next to the oven. Common sense. Please don't use a cigar cabinet outdoors. So you don't want this outside in your backyard getting rained on. Even on an outdoor porch, I don't think that would be a smart idea either. Dust and debris and things like that can blow up into the inside of this thing. That wouldn't be smart. Just use this in your house, man. It's a pretty nice thing. That's where you're going to use it. Do not fill your cigar cabinet to the brim. Leave room for air to circulate. This is another thing which I read online this is supposed to hold over 300 cigars. I think I have that correct. You wouldn't want to do that. You want this air to circulate around these cigars. You need these cigars to breathe. You need them to soak in the moisture provided by this humidity system that this thing is designed to do. Do not use for purposes other than preserving cigars. Do not store perishable food in the cigar cooler, as the internal temperature will not be low enough. Right? This won't go low enough to chill your food. I mentioned that already. If the cigar cabinet is broken, please contact customer service, determine the repair, and so that's no big deal. Do not place the product against a wall or furniture, appliances. Leave at least 4 inches of space on the back, right side, and above the product. This is the right side, but I think it's the same all around. So if you were going to build this into a cabinet, you'd want to create a face around this, right? Like a face frame, just like a kitchen cabinet. Yeah, something like this. And then, you know, that would create a nice airflow around it, so your cabinet on the side would come all the way out here. And this is just kind of common sense. And then this last one here, avoid direct sunlight. So again, keep it indoors. This is very simple, common sense stuff. You really don't need the instruction manual to figure these things out. But it does get into the water thing and everything else. So it says that you put your water in here, stick this in here, set this thing right, and it basically does all the work for you. It did say that once the humidity level is achieved, check your water and replace it. And then obviously there's cleaning instructions and all that in there. I wanted to show you guys this. When I smoke a cigar in the way I was taught, was always to use wooden matches. So I happen to have this really cool silver match holder I picked up some time ago. So this is whenever I'm going to smoke a cigar, I carry this with me. It's a very neat thing, and this doesn't have a date on it, but this is pretty old. I think this is probably from like the 1920s, maybe the 30s. And then I happen to like to use a plug cutter on the end of my cigars. This is just me personally. People will argue about this. I'm not going to argue with you. It's what I like. I like to take the cigar, get it in my mouth a little bit, get a little wet on the end, because you want the fiber, that leaf on the end to be damp. And then you want to take this thing here and stick that in the end and spin it, pull it out, and now you can draw through the cigar. That's just my technique. It's the way I do it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So these are the two items I like to have with me when I'm smoking a cigar. And I guess that's really it for now. This was just an initial unboxing and first impressions. I spoke with my friend Scott Della Pena. He owns the company Hermosa Cigars, and he told me he's going through a transition right now. He might have already had it solved by now. So he was trying to find a new facility to make his cigars. And he did mention, I don't have to hold him to this, if he does it, it would be very nice, that he may give me a bundle of cigars for this. Matter of fact, what I think I might do, it's called Hermosa Cigars, and he happens to live in Hermosa Beach. That's probably how that came about. Keep it simple, stupid, right? So what I'll do is I'll talk to Scott I'll set up a day. I'll bring this with me. We'll go down there, we'll have a little meeting, and maybe you can give me some cigars. We'll put in this. And I want to interview Scott, and I want to talk to him about cigars, cigar knowledge, and really a little bit of bio on himself if he's willing to do it, because he's a real interesting character. Again, all the people I like that I include in my little friend umbrella are far more interesting than I am. All right, at least that's what I think. I don't think I can be friends with people that bore me, you know. Anyhow, that's it for now. NEEDONE Cigar Humidor. This is the large one. Matter of fact, I don't know if the size is mentioned in here. I think this is the 38 liter. Yeah, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do next, right here, I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to insert images that I shot from the screen on my computer from the Amazon link. All right. So that's all the information you really need, and I hope this is good enough for the company. Cherry there, NEEDONE. Hope you appreciate this. Thank you for sending this to me. And this is a little large for me, probably, but having said that, if my subscribers do end up sending me a bunch of cigars, you never know. This thing might get full pretty quick. I think I would still prefer the smaller one, so if we're going to do that, that'll be next month, and by then I'll maybe have some cigars that I could put in it, and I will review this whole thing. This will probably end up at the house in Arizona, and we'll see. If they are kind enough to send me the smaller unit so I could do another unboxing and review of that, then I'll make a determination which one I'm going to keep, and maybe we'll do something for the channel with one of these units. So keep that in mind for the future. Before I go, let me just quickly give you guys the specs on this. I know it says it on there. Sometimes what they say is not exactly what it is. So the depth on this is, because I'm going to give this to you to the 16th of an inch, and I'm talking in inches because this is the United States of America. The metric thing, you know, kills me. I know it's more accurate. Let's not get into that discussion right now, okay? You're right. You're right. But this is what I know. So we're at 18 3/4 of an inch depth. Overall height, including this right here, which is important. Some people might only measure to here, but you want to measure to this. This is a plastic thing. It'll pop off. But to the top of that, we're looking at about 20 3/8, almost 20 7/16. So that's just under 20.5 inches. Width this way, just under 17 inches wide. So I think we're golden there, and I'll give you another quick look at this from all sides. This might be exactly what you want. You saw the price on the Amazon link. The fan is on right now. I couldn't even hear it. Now I can hear it a little bit from the backside. That's how quiet this thing is. So that's important for a lot of you. Interesting, the spaces here. I'm always thinking about hidden spaces, you know. I do that for furniture for people sometimes. You can imagine. All right, so you know what I'm doing. This is just my cheap, easy way for me to get a screenshot, thumbnail for the video. Because I'm not that savvy. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Be kind to one another. Come back again, tell your friends, and I'll catch you all in the next one.